Before we begin, thank you very much to that one size where it's slightly bigger than big, but you can't really tell until you squint really hard, Convoy. We are getting incredibly specific with this. I will let you all know. There are quite a few shoutouts that are all waiting for this convoy streak to die. So if you're still waiting for your shout out, you will get it. Don't worry. I'm seeing how long this is actually going to take. I will tell you, there's still a couple to go. So hang tight. Everyone gets their shout out who pitches in. Everyone who upgraded, because I had a bunch of upgrades lately too. Those will get shout outs too, but it'll probably just be all at once because there's a lot of you. But all that said, welcome to 2026. I am going to be going over what I feel are some of my personal most anticipated toys of the coming year. This isn't going to be everything. This is going to cover a lot of the stuff that's rumored to come out. This might cover stuff that is technically 2027, but we know how release dates work these days, so it'll probably end up being December 26 anyway. So, let us go over what I feel are some of my most anticipated Transformers. I think that has to start with Bruticus. Yes, I'm in the camp that his legs look way too short and stubby. But that said, I've kind of taken a turn on him. So, I will admit, Onslaught does not look as good as the past Commander figures, especially his faux super mode, because now he just kind of looks like a gorilla on stilts. But we had a change of things. So I got Vortex in hand and kind of felt this is kind of typical combiner style toy. Like, I'm not terribly impressed by it, but it's okay, serves the job. Don't like the kibble under the arms. That's kind of a buzzkill. Oh, I got to pay Voyager price for Brawl now. Oh, okay, fine, whatever. Just this once to complete this combiner, because I don't think I'm going to do this for Defensor. So about that Brawl. Brawl I got in just yesterday, and Brawl probably the best combiner of this new style of combiner toys that I have seen yet. There are ways where he's earned his Voyager price point, especially the tank mode, which is far bulkier and bigger looking than most of the tank modes I have messed with in recent years for Transformer toys. So yeah, I have reasons to be excited now. If Swindle is as bulky and good feeling as a toy, I'm going to be happy. And then my blast off is supposed to be arriving anytime now, so we'll see how that goes too. Needless to say, Brawl alone has sold me on Bruticus as a batch, and I think a lot of people are going to be judging like 2026 by how Bruticus turned out, because like the combiner is just always going to be so hotly anticipated. Speaking of anticipated for next year, that does cover the primes as well. Liege Maximo, we still have not seen hide nor hair of. We know it's going to be a leader class toy according to leaked listings. Beyond that, we're just kind of left to wonder. If it's going to be leader class, I have to assume it's going to be somewhat based on his original G2 artwork. And because, you know, like the Hall of the Primes thing they did, like, yes, there's deviations from art to toy on those, but for the most part, they are similar, and he does use that for that artwork, that Marvel comic vestige, but they also blend in other versions. So the IDW version that was also, you know, in the mix storyline wise, that one might work its way in too, sleek him down a little bit. I'm super curious how they're going to handle it, considering he's definitely not your typical robot. I don't see anything he would transform into, but to make him a leader class toy, you gotta justify it. You gotta come up with something real good. So that is what I'm waiting for, the real good. And then Nexus Prime is the other one that we're heavily kind of curious about, because we know he's going to be a Voyager class toy. That goes beyond my expectations. And for Nexus Prime, he is the prime of the combiners, so you need to have some kind of combiner element to him, and I feel like Hasbro said in one of their Q&As that he will have some combiner element to him. Having Amalgamus Prime in hand now, I think the vibe is going to be similar to that, where like on Amalgamus, you can take the arms off and transform them into little vehicles. And that kind of feels like what they are going to go with here. My anticipation is that in a very Junkion style way, the arms and legs will be able to come off. They will have very rudimentary transformations for very simple vehicle modes. Little tanks, little jets, that kind of thing. Nothing complicated. Maybe each is a different vehicle, so it feels more like a natural combiner. And then the torso would have a larger vehicle mode to match the other four. And that's what I'm assuming is going to work. Nothing that actually works like a normal combiner with individual robot modes for all of the pieces, but something that has the spirit of actually combining built in. And at the Voyager size, that's probably the only way I can imagine them budgeting the whole thing in. Seeing Amalgamus in hand, yeah, they could definitely budget something like that at Voyager class. So that's my expectation for Nexus at this point. Here's one I'm anticipating, though I know I'm going to get burned on this, and it's the 86 Astro Train that's coming out. I'm hoping that with the advent of ones like Springer and Sandstorm, we can just accept that a bulky, heavy triple changer is technically a leader class value now. I know it's probably not going to be, especially at $60 for a leader class. But I don't want the stupid caboose full of weapons. I don't want that stupid coal car that does nothing. I want them to retool this thing so that the vehicle modes actually look better. The shuttle mode in particular, so it doesn't look like a huge chunk of the hull has been exploded. That's all I'm really after here. I'm going to love Astro Train being in like cartoon accurate colors with clean deco. But really what I'm after here is just a little bit of retooling, because we've seen this toy several times now. We don't need to see another run of it unless you're going to make a significant improvement to it. I would put Blitzwing in this list for the exact same reason, but I have the suspicion that Blitzwing is basically just going to be a minor repaint and potentially without the hull cans. I just kind of feel like Blitzwing is going to disappoint me here. Here's one I'm really anticipating, but we've seen so many photos of it, I forget that it isn't even out yet, and that's the Missing Link Ultra Magnus. I still haven't pulled the trigger on a pre-order for mine, because that is an expensive toy, but man, it does look incredible. Just the way that they've managed to actually engineer what should be impossible. Articulation in that design should be impossible, and yet here we are. We've seen it in action. It works. It's kind of marvelous. I love Missing Link for showing just how far engineering has come in Transformers, that we can recreate the original toy and just add all these modern functions to it, that were not possible back in the 80s. It's a great toy line to show you just how far we have come as far as toy design and engineering goes. So yeah, I'm still on the fence about buying it, but should the opportunity arise next year, yeah, I would probably jump on it if I could. Here's one you wouldn't expect me to anticipate, and it's the upcoming Studio Series Grimlock, and that's because I actually kind of like the design. I mean, it's a T-Rex made of shrapnel. That's one of the situations where I think that aesthetic actually looks pretty cool. I had the leader class that they did for early Studio Series, and I was actually really, really impressed by that toy. I really, really liked that Dinobot. The deco especially felt like something really special on a mass-produced piece, because the way it covers everything and the way it looks like a random pattern across the whole toy. It works. It's a beautiful piece. It's a really cool figure. To get one even bigger sounds even better. And yeah, just like the sheer scale and size of this thing is just immense. It's very, very impressive. So yeah, another one that I'm kind of considering the Titan here. That one I have to wait for in-hand reviews though. And to date, we have not seen a final version of that toy. So it's going to be a bit. Here's one's going to slip under everyone's radar because Takara is barely showing us anything of it, but Transformers Overgear. I mean, who remembered that this was announced? So Overgear is Takara's idea of taking Transformers, apparently in the live action style, and reimagining them more along the lines of modern mecha style toys. Which, yeah, like Transformers are giant robots, but we never really consider them mecha in any way, meaning that there is a very popular aesthetic out of Japan for robots, giant ones especially, that Transformers completely misses. And this looks like their way of actually capturing that audience. You can look at him and he's like, Ironhide here is very heavily greebled and detailed. You can see a lot more military aspects to his overall design. He looks like he's going to be fascinating. And then Blackout as well looks really, really interesting. Again, this is one of those, I want to see it fully finished and in hand before I make any judgment calls and any purchases. But it does look like it's going to be really, really cool. So this is all stuff that we've either physically seen or we have absolutely positive is going to come down the loop. Everything else here is just listings and rumors, and all we can do is speculate. So sticking with the Ironhide, we do have a long-standing rumor that one of the next missing links is going to be Ironhide and Ratchet. And yes, I'm one of the defenders of this old toy, because I acknowledge it was never supposed to be a standalone robot. It was supposed to be a piloted mech suit. So taking that account and saying like they were working with what they had, I've always appreciated this toy more than most. To me, having that play pattern at the same price point as the other Autobot cars made him special. You know, gave him a unique ability that the other ones did not have. And, you know, your other option for that kind of play pattern was spending up for Optimus Prime. I thought they, yes, they are weird looking. Do they look like the cartoon? No, but that's the cartoon's fault, not the toy's fault. The toy, I think, does some fun stuff. And to see it in Missing Link, where all the articulation could be added in, and potentially an actual head, that's actually interesting to me. What would be more interesting is doing a cartoon-style Ironhide, or doing like an Ironhide that looks like it fits into the G1 cast, but actually looks like he does in the cartoon, in the similar way that those old Diaclone toys looked like compared to their animation models. Be tricky design-wise, but Takara could pull it off. We still have to wait for our Armada Jetfire. We know this is going to be one of the commander classes for generations. And yeah, I'm really curious how they're going to pull this off. In particular, you have to include that leg mode. But that leg mode means the entire toy will be splitting in half to create articulated legs. And that leaves the rest of the toy to kind of wonder about what it's going to be. So with the original toy, there was no way to make it animation accurate because, it had to be very wide-legged, very hollow, rotund body in order to actually fit all the engineering and to be hollow inside. Well, the new one's probably not going to have like the little like bay inside the shuttle that you can open up and find for mini cons to hide in. Probably not going to have that. So he has a chance to be a lot more solid than the original one does as a result. Maybe not, maybe that robot mode doesn't just have like a couple of loosely tabbed panels holding the whole thing together. That would be nice. So I do think this one's going to be a really, really good toy. I'm just super curious to see what it's actually going to look like and how close it's actually going to get to the animation model and still function as a new set of legs for Prime. Which does leave me wondering if they're going to reissue that Armada Prime at this point, because it was a really, really good toy, really popular to the point where people have a hard time finding it now. Here's a couple more listings, and we don't know exactly what they're going to be, but we can kind of infer. One more than the other. So the one we can infer the most is that there is a Leader Class Comics Soundwave on the way, and that very much sounds like a Marvel Comics purple Soundwave. And I always liked this color. I mean, not as the primary color for Soundwave. I'll always prefer the blue. But I don't think this purple and this like lightish gray coloring that he has to him, I don't think that's bad. I do not think that is a bad look in the least. I've always wanted at least one toy of it in those colors, and it looks like they're going to use the Studio Series 86 to accomplish that, which is cool to see. I want to see it. And then the other one is Comic Fort Max. The difficulty here is that there are two exceptionally good candidates. Number one is just make him the Marvel comic one, just like Soundwave. Because in the Marvel comics, he really isn't city-sized. He is actually considerably smaller, so he would scale better with other Transformers on your shelf if he was a leader class. And just, I think it's cool to get toys like that at small scales. Because, you know, like, the other alternative is too big for your desk. I would like big city bots that are just easy to fiddle with, you know, on the spot, and I don't want to buy third party to do it. But the other option is IDW Fort Max, who has, I assume, like a rolling battle station mode from the design that he had. I never saw his actual vehicle mode in a comic, or if I did, I don't remember it. It's been a while since I read any of those. Either way, we have two very good Fort Max options, and either opens the doors to great things. Either a Scorponok, leader class Scorponok, not gonna take up my entire shelf Scorponok, or if it's IDW, well, that just opens the door to anything IDW, right? Bring, you know, like, let's get Megatronus retooled. And that was the loudest engine that just went by. Let's get Megatronus retooled into like an Autobot Megatron. You know, he's got a few parts that feel like that was the idea behind him. I digress. Let's move on. Kranix is in the listings, and I'm super curious. We've gotten in this mode of we're taking random characters who were technically robots, and we're going to make them into Transformers so we can put them in this toy line now. And Kranix is one of the holdouts for as impactful a character for his short time in the original movie. It is kind of a shame that the only figure he's gotten to this point has been this tiny little figurine in a multi-pack of Quintessons. It's great to know he's getting an actual deluxe. I'm super curious to see what it's going to be, if it's going to be accurate to his like intended spaceship mode that the original artwork called for. Yes, they are, you know, cousin is a, you know, the Lithones were the cousin race of Transformers apparently. I'm super excited to see what he's going to end up being. And now here are the fun ones. So, not that none of these are fun, but like this is a lot more speculative. There's still lingering rumor that we are getting a Batmobile. And I don't think I have to explain why I am hotly anticipating seeing that in 2026. Considering how Mattel and Hasbro have been very, you know, agreeable with working together in, you know, in the last year, it would not surprise me if Mattel actually worked with them, now that they have the DC license again, worked with Hasbro to kind of like figure this out and actually get a Batmobile made. It would be super cool. I don't know if the recent changeovers with things, both with the DC license from McFarlane to Mattel, or if DC's potential sale has any effect on this potential deal. Hopefully not, though, because a transforming Batmobile, I think, is every comic book and Transformer nerd's dream. It would be fantastic. It's just a matter of which one do you pick? And then I say, why pick one? Do them all. You know? Do the Adam West, do the Tim Burton, do the animated series, do the Tumbler, you know, just go run amok, you know, just give us a whole wave. There's a whole wave of like Voyager class Batmobiles. I don't think a single person would complain, and I don't think a single one wouldn't sell. The one that got me the most interested is that listing for a role-play Matrix of Leadership. And we've talked about this before. The Matrix of Leadership has never had anything that I can call like a real toy. It's had statues. It has had costume props. It has, you know, and it has little display things, but never anything I would consider a toy. Hasbro seems like they are going to be amending that for the 40th anniversary of the movie. It will have to open. Obviously, it will have to open. It will have to have lights because, you know, it has to glow. And then there is music. Does it play the touch when I open it up? can I hear Optimus Prime's voice telling me to arise if I hit the right button? My pipe dream is that it's not just a push button or just pull it open thing. My dream is that I will actually be able to slide my fingers into the holes like Rodimus and grip it that way in order to open the Matrix. Because like I want there to be like catches inside the finger holes that unlock the pull mechanism, because that would be really, really thematic and really cool. Probably not going to happen, but a boy can dream. And the last one, this will tell you like how early and like this will tell you how late I recorded this, and it will tell you how quickly I get these up after they've recorded. We have listings and rumors that just popped up for transforming emblems. I'll cover this on the news roundup too, because this might get lost being brand new. It's literally dropped today. Yeah, transforming Autobot symbol, transforming Decepticon symbol. Seems like something that should have been done a long time ago. Now, technically, because of BotBots, we do have a transforming Autobot symbol, but not a Decepticon one. And I'm just going to take a stab here. I think this one's going to be a little bit more involved than the BotBot. Just saying. I don't know if these are going to be individual 2-pack. Well, no, it should just be a 2-pack. That'd be the easiest way. But no, super curious about it. Super curious. And that might just be because it just popped up today. But yeah, we have a lot to look forward to in the next year, if you can stomach the prices. That's another topic. For now, this is the list of toys that I am like really, really looking forward to next year. So please, in the comments below, you can tell me which one you are looking forward to, whether it's on this list or not. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.